Hey everybody, welcome back to another new Copic Colors challenge. This month we're taking on the alien symbiote Venom. This time you can see me, I'm starting the drawing. You know I like to say symbiote, not a symbiote, because that was just super weird from that movie. A little bit of background into Venom this time around. I never watched the Venom movie just because I didn't really have much interest. I like the look of Venom, but other than that, I'm not really the biggest Venom fan, because usually everybody always tries to make him a hero, and he's so much better as a bad guy. So I don't really understand the biggest appeal. He was always a better villain and a better bad guy towards Spider-Man than he was an anti-hero, and usually when they use anti-hero, it's kind of lame. So I'm not the biggest fan of how they use Venom lately, but this time, yeah. But it's visually, he's always super fun to draw. So I mean, it's just a big monster with big teeth and tongue and muscles. So Venom's a blast to draw. So as you can see right now, I'm just putting in some of his teeth. Yeah, I put a little bit of a bend in his teeth just so that his tongue is so big that it actually bends and folds his mouth just to fit it all in there. I'm doing some detailing on his eyes. And the tongue is actually, I usually like to put little spikes on his tongue, kind of like I don't know what the word is, but they're like little pincers kind of thing. And just doing a little bit of drool in there. Yeah, I like to draw. If you've seen my stuff before, I like to draw really messy. Just get everything I can on the page, and if it starts to look good or bad, I change it on the fly. As you can see, I put a little bit more of his upper lip folding over as the tongue is trying to get out of his mouth. And now, then it was a simple sketch, so I just jumped on to the inks. So the Copic Colors for this month of March, we got YR01, BG07, and B01. My original plan for this month's character for Spider-Man was going to be Kraven the Hunter. I was going to do something really artsy and different, but I was trying a lot of different techniques and a lot of different placeholders, but or how to mix the colors together, and it wasn't working to what I wanted to do. So I had to scrap Kraven and I had to go with Venom, just because I think the blues work really well. It looks like more of the Marvel vs. Capcom version of Venom, where it's just a bright blues. So I think it looks really cool. It made him look a little bit different than what we've been seeing lately with just the dark blacks or really dark purples. And then we got, I want to put a lot of emphasis on the symbiote stuff. So I'm starting to make his neck look really veiny and gooey, and has a lot of different details on his neck just to make it look a little bit more ferocious. And I made sure I put a lot of detailing for his muscles, that he's not like a normal human being, where you can see like the rivets in the muscle tone popping out. Usually you don't see that on skin, but of course he's an alien. So, and also the one thing I did do, I wanted to skip, was put the big spider emblem on his chest. I kept that one. I actually kept closer to the movie, where he has none of that stuff. But I didn't want to do the white veins that pop up. Just want to keep them simple with the blue. What other stuff? Well, the cool thing with the Venom, he's a co-creation of Tom McFarlane, and McFarlane's one of my favorite comic creators and one of the favorite people in the comic book industry. I met him a couple years ago, I think when I was like 13 or 14, so yeah, almost 15-20 years ago. I met Todd, he had a screening for his autobiography, his documentary that he had. It was someone followed him around for a bit and did a documentary about his life, and they had a special screening in Calgary because he's from Calgary, so that's even more of a reason that I really like Todd McFarlane. He's a homeboy, and so I was able to meet him. I think I brought one comic book to get signed, and then I wanted to show him some artwork that I did of Spawn, and just get his feedback. I was just a kid, I didn't know any better what was going on, but the cool thing with Todd is that there's so many people who wanted to get signatures from him and talk to Todd, and I just waited my turn. Like, my parents always said, just be patient and just wait your turn, wait for you to go through and everybody else to go get their chance, and you go in. And then the entire time he was seeing me and my mom, because my mom took me to that show, which I was very thankful that she could, because they weren't going to drop me off at a theater downtown by myself at 13. So yeah, they had to have somebody come with me for them to be a little bit peace of mind that I could go. So yeah, as me and my mom waited to have our turn to meet Todd, he would always turn back and just say, "Hey, I thank you for waiting. I'll be with you. I'll sign your stuff." And he signed everybody's stuff, and he signed my stuff, and he took the time to take a look. He sent me some encouragement, and then he even just wanted to take a photo. He asked if we wanted to take a photo with him, and I said, "Of course I do." But with my mom being very technologically inept, she didn't know how to use the camera and didn't know how to turn on the flash, so the photo that we took didn't actually work. So I don't have photographic proof of this whole night, but regardless, it's one of those things that I will never ever forget. And yeah, whenever I talk about comic book artists, I can never say anything bad about Todd. He is a huge influence on me, and he was such a great and nice person, and even my mom was impressed, and they never get impressed of anything. So that was one of the things I'll always remember, never forget, with an experience. Going back over with everything with a thicker black line, just to give it some line weight on the subject. I only put in the one hand just because he's so big and bulky. To put the other hand would essentially just look really awkward. It wouldn't be centered on the page, so I just wanted to keep that one shoulder and part of his pec in there. But I wanted to get that one right hand in, so I could at least have a claw poking out a little bit. But when I had the idea, I was like, does it look weird? But then as I got through it, it doesn't look bad at all. It just looks a little more artsy to me. Just doing thicker lines on everything, just so that they make them pop a little bit more. Yeah, I don't know how. Yeah, jump in the comments down below. Let me know if you're okay with this angle. Of course it's at an angle. Usually I try to make it straight right on the camera, but when I have to draw, it's at an angle for me. So it's kind of awkward for me to do some of the stuff, just because it's at a weird angle for myself. But I was able to do this, and it doesn't look too bad for me. But if it bugs you guys, let me know so I can change it up for you. Let's put in some more details in the cross hatching to make sure it all looks good. Now we are on to colors. So I lay out all the shadow first, the darkest parts, with the B01, which is the darkest marker in this three color set. So we're having the light source coming in hot from the right side. So right side, the screen side, it'll be on his left. So putting a lot of the shadow around his neck veins and around his shoulder. You can see I do those more, instead of just a big block, I try to feather out the color just to make it match with the lines of his muscles. So it's a little bit scratchy and a little bit not smooth per se. It's blocking some more stuff out. I don't even know if I used the other edge for this thing. I don't know why I always like the brush on the Copics. It just works so much better. But for big surfaces, yeah, I like the edgy one on the opposite side of this. And a lot of, usually most of the time when I do some of these pieces, especially with dramatic lighting, I jump onto my my Pose Tool app, which has like a 3D model ready to go, and I can shape it to what I want, and then I can change the lighting so I can get an accurate scale of what the lighting looks like on a character. So that's what I did, so I know how to map it. So now I have now jumped onto the YR01. So I'm just doing, making his tongue that, that orangish looking thing. So it's not screen or comic accurate, but for this case it works well with the colors that are provided for me. It just matches up really, really well. So I usually have like yellow teeth and a pink tongue, and then a little bit of gray eyes. But it's just for the way the values work on Venom, this works just fine. Like, yeah, he would have green drool coming in, but of course I can't use green, so the light blue actually kind of works and makes it cool look, kind of like green, just looking at it. And we're going to do a heavy white for the parts that are where the light hits him the brightest. It will be white. So I'm just going to go in with the blue, a couple layers, and just get those values in. And as I go through and trying to feather in, do a couple layers on top of where it feathers out, just so that it blends in a little bit nicer, so it doesn't look so blocky. But because it's two very different colors on the spectrum, they don't blend very, very well. But it still works. I still really like the way this piece looked. Some more detailing around his neck. Just going in and just getting the feathering. Everything else. Oh, that color actually looked pretty cool. I don't know why it changed. Now I'm using that blue, the light blue. It's almost kind of like it's almost like a rim light on the one side, so you can see a little bit of blue around his eyes and on the tip of his tongue. Going in, I'm just going in with a white gel pen just to get the little highlights in his tongue and in his drool. Just so it's bouncing off. There's light bouncing off those surfaces because it's hitting the light just right. Yeah, I think this pen was dying on me too, so I was really struggling trying to get ink to come out of that thing. Alright, we should be grabbing it because we're going to start working on a little bit of a background just to give it some more visual elements to help it stand out. So I'm doing some squigglies just to make it look like the symbiote is coming alive and maybe coming off of him. And we're doing Todd spider webs, where it's you do all the main pillars of the web first, and then you just do a whole bunch of random squiggly lines, almost in that circular motion. But you put 3 lines on here, and you put like a crosshatch in certain areas just to make it look really, really busy and almost I don't even know what the word is, but just make it look busy, look interesting. You see there's like X's and Z shapes in there just to make it like this spider was just jumping all over the place. So that's why I decided to put a little bit more depth into it. This part I may have overdone it a little bit. I think I should have just kept it with the blue, the light blue, so Venom himself stands out more because he is so dark and he has that yellow, that orange tinge to him. So yeah, so I just go over all the darker blue with the light blue, just so that it blends in with the light blue a little bit better, so it doesn't stand out so much. Just going through all over the place. Good. And then I think as it's cut off, there we go. And now I start just adding a whole bunch of spiders all over the piece just to make it look more Spider-Man. So I think this is where I will wrap everything up. This is we're getting to the very end of the piece. Yeah, just a couple seconds more. So that is how Venom is going to look like. That is piece 3 of my Spider-Man Rogues Gallery Copic Color collection. Colors of the month, however you want to call it. Just a couple finishing touches, and this is what the finished product looks like. All nice and pretty looking. Thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. I'm a little bit behind, but I'll be posting videos for the other side of the spectrum of the DC of Batman villains. I would try and decide where, but they will be coming up soon. But thank you guys for watching. Be sure to like this video, and we'll see you next month for the next set of 3 colors. Take care, guys.